Hello, Cyberpunks. I'm your host, Brenden Lupus Daemon Sandifer, and welcome to our Cyberpunk podcast, where we discuss various cyberpunk media. With me today, we have Matt, who is muted.
Hello. Well, I'm always
Barry.
muted. I don't want background sounds popping
Gotcha.
in. So,
Barry.
Quarantined.
Graham.
Hello.
And Sami.
Yay, we have Barry back.
So today we're covering the 1983 movie Brainstorm. This film, starring Christopher Walken, Natalie Wood, Louise Fletcher, and Cliff Robertson, made $10 million on a budget of $18 million. But is it cyberpunk? Well, let's see. Scientists invent a brain-computer interface, enabling sensations to be recorded for others to experience. At CEO Alex's instruction, the team demonstrates the device to investors to gain financing. Lillian is pressured by backers to admit Landon to the team. She disagrees with their plan to have the invention developed for military use. One team member has sexual intercourse while wearing the recorder and shares the tape with colleagues. Hal splices one section of the tape into a continuous orgasm, which results in sensory overload. Tensions increase as the possibility for abuse becomes clear. Suffering from heart problems and a constant cigarette smoker, Lillian suffers a heart attack while working alone. Realizing she's about to die, Lillian records her experience. Michael later decides to experience Lillian's recording, but nearly dies when his body simulates a heart attack. Scientists, wanting to discover the machine's military capabilities, are monitoring the equipment as Michael plays Lillian's tape. Michael's playback is cut short by Hal. Alex has the recording locked away and tells Michael he will not be allowed to view it. Michael walks in on Landon and outside technicians going through his research records. Alex responds to his protest by firing Michael and Karen. Michael attempts to hack into the lab's computers. He accesses a tape from his den and quickly stops viewing it because of its disturbing nature. Michael and Karen's son, Chris, inadvertently views the tape, causing him to have a psychotic experience that results in his hospitalization. Michael vows to destroy his work and enlists the help of Karen and Hal. Michael and Karen head to the Pinehurst Resort and, realizing they're under surveillance, stage a fight that results in Karen leaving for Hal's house. As the two feign reconciliation over the phone, Michael accesses the Brainstorm computer via another phone line while Karen hacks into the system, sabotaging the robots that manufacture the interface terminals. Karen shuts down the security system, locking the staff outside. With the plant in chaos, Robert orders Michael's arrest. Michael bears witness to the afterlife, experiencing a vision of hell before traveling away from Earth and through the universe, even after the tape ends. He ultimately has visions of angels and departed souls flying into a great cosmic light. Michael then collapses. Karen sobs, believing him dead. She pleads for him to stay alive. Awaking from the experience, he weeps with joy and embraces Karen. Aww. So, before we get into if this is cyberpunk, we got some fun facts here. Fun fact number 1. The tape used in the tape machines is a variety of decorative tape made by 3M. 3M only sold it in 4-inch widths, so it had to be slit by hand to 2-inch widths to fit in the tape machines. When filmed, they were astounded at how gaudy it looked, so to dampen the brightness, the prop crew wound the tape back and forth across a sander to dull its brilliance. Lana Wood filled in for her sister Natalie Wood in some shots to help finish the film after Natalie's untimely death. When Natalie Wood died died near the end of principal photography, studio execs tried to kill the film and claim the insurance, saying that director Douglas Trumbull could not complete the film. However, Trumbull's contract gave that decision to him, and he insisted on completing it, using a stand-in and changing camera angles for a few of the remaining shots of Wood's character. The resulting hostility between Trumbull and the studio execs meant that this would be Trumbull's last Hollywood film. He has since devoted his efforts to effects work for IMAX films, theme park rides, and the like. The corporate board demo is seen to be taking place over an acoustic-coupled modem, using a then-standard telephone headset.
Mm-hmm.
Such connections were limited to about 300 bits per second, or less than 40 characters of text per second. Such a speed is barely adequate for a text-based 80x25 terminal screen without any graphics.
Mm-hmm.
A fax transmission at the lowest usable resolution over such a line would require many minutes for a single image.
Correct.
The section in the demo with the vehicle flying off the cliff, was directly inspired by the original IMAX History of Flight presentation at the opening of the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. in 1976. In the original, a spoke-wheeled Model T is driving across the grassy field. Then there's a shot looking down through the wheels at the grass as the camera, now surreptitiously mounted on a wheeled ultralight pane, goes off a cliff and over the ocean. As with this film, the members of the IMAX audiences leaned back in their seats in reaction. When the film was shown in the UK, it was advertised as being in dynamic expanding frame, which meant that, although much of the film was in the conventional 35mm format, for the subjective camera scenes of people using the helmet, the image would suddenly expand into a huge 70mm widescreen aspect ratio. Number 7. In theaters, careful examination reveals that the taped scenes are just a bit wider on the screen and have more deeply saturated colors. The effect was subtle, but enough to make those scenes distinct from the real scenes. And finally, most of this film was shot in the European spherical widescreen system of 1.66 to 1. For the 70mm release prints, a blow-up of this footage was made, uncropped, to the 70mm negative, with a black border on the left and right of the screen. During exhibition of the film, of the 70mm prints, the 1.66 to 1 image would appear on the center of the screen, while during the Brainstorm scenes, the image would suddenly fill the 2.2 to 1 screen. So let's get into our checklist, shall we? We got a dystopian future, alternate present. I'm going to say yes. Matt, what do you think?
What was the question? I missed it.
Dystopian future, alternate present. We're doing the
Absolutely,
checklist.
yes.
That's what I said too. Present implants or cyberware?
No.
Yeah, that's what I said too. Make a corporate villain with no morals.
I don't. Technically,
yes. Again, government, but
yeah. Well, I was going to say they funded the program, and they definitely had no morals considering what they were doing.
Wide class difference, haves versus have-nots. I said no.
Not No, it's not really a core part of the story.
Society on the verge of breakdown or outright revolution. Once again, I said no.
Not at that time, although if this technology got out there, yes.
Right, but
it wasn't.
We can only focus on the movie.
Correct.
Ramifications,
yes, not in the film.
Right. Ecological or environmental damage to the extreme. I said no.
No.
All right. Cyberspace.
Early enough, really hard to say. I can't really say yes or no to that one because some of the concepts that would later be used for Cyberpunk clearly were either inspired by this film or in parallel. Especially at the in-depth immersion into the situation stuff is like almost one-to-one, especially with some of the mechanical devices and the brain recording, all that's very similar.
Yeah,
even the chairs, like the chairs in Cyberpunk. Braindance didn't come out till '89 was the first time it was referenced. I would say yes, but no, it predates cyberspace.
I said yes.
I can't say yes, but it definitely is yes because he accessed things remotely via phone.
Well, then we're saying yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go with yes.
Is this gritty? I said no.
Well, I would say yes. There's a lot of death in it.
Yeah, but death doesn't necessarily make something gritty.
Yeah, I guess it's not like noir style, so no.
Yeah. Sci-fi tropes frequently included but not exclusive to Cyberpunk. We got artificial intelligence. I said no.
No.
Big Brother is watching you. I said no.
No, although, once again, recording memories, that definitely would lead that direction, but no, not in the
film. High-tech society. I said no.
For the time, yes. That was way more than existed in 1983. Even computer-wise, but no.
Yeah, I was looking at the stuff in the background more
overall
than just
society,
this one
no.
machine.
Right, yeah.
Overall society is a no. Postmodern deconstruction. I wasn't sure.
To a degree, like it is taking some of the more humdrum or things we take for granted and trying to show just what kind of effect it has on us as people. I mean, especially how much we don't really control for our reactions for sensation and events that we go through.
Yeah, but to a degree isn't enough to...
Correct. Hence, to a degree, I'm not saying yes, am I? I'm saying to a degree. The answer is no.
Transhumanism.
Mentioned, especially the guy claiming to be more than he ever was after experiencing the loop. Yeah. And especially trying to understand more of the universe and becoming one with it, kind of. Especially that final scene.
Yeah, I can see an argument being made, but I said no, because in the sense of
even the military
your mortal body to extend your lifespan.
Well, even the military application, kind of. Trying to make them much more than is possible with any physical training. Like, they would experience things that you can't even experience.
Right.
To become more than they are. But I thought transhumanism was also improving yourself and getting more powerful, stronger, etc.
I'll go ahead and mark it as a yes. I'll mark it as a yes.
Let me see. I'll look up the wording.
Well, you do
maybe
that.
I'm just misunderstanding that word. Philosophical movement advocates the enhancement of the human condition by developing and making widely available sophisticated technologies that can greatly enhance longevity and cognition. Definitely the cognition.
Yeah,
not so much the
longevity.
So, no. That's why I was saying that.
Yeah.
Although their memories would live on. Like when he gave the thing over saying, "This is me," and it was all of the memories of him and her.
Yeah.
To Susan.
Neo-noir or tech-noir style?
No.
Drugs or alcohol?
Yes, both.
Yeah. And Barry's favorite question, does it feel cyberpunk? Mathadar, does this feel cyberpunk?
Oh, God. That's a hard one to say because, one, it predates it. I would say yes, but also at the same time, no, it's not punk. It's got some cyber, but it's not punk, so no.
Okay, Barry.
The best I would say, like, if in terms of my opinion, would be... I'll wait for our final opinion. Go for
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna go to verdicts in a moment. Barry, does it
Yes.
feel cyberpunk?
Since I have not seen this, based on just what you've been going over with the tenets as to which counts and which doesn't, I would say that generally speaking, if it feels like it's cyber, but it doesn't feel like it's punk, then it doesn't feel like it's cyberpunk. Because just to have cyberpunk, you need the cyber, you need the punk. You can't watch a noir movie and call it cyberpunk because it doesn't have the cyber. You can't watch a sci-fi movie and call it cyberpunk because it doesn't have the anti-authoritarian Big Brother is watching major corporate villain theme going on, along with all the science fiction in there. So if you separate one out from the other, it is not cyberpunk. It is a blended genre by definition, and based on what I've heard, it does not sound like it feels cyberpunk, but I have not seen it.
All right. Anyone else?
Grim, who is muted?
No, it's not. To me, it's not cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
It's sci-fi, but not cyberpunk.
That's a verdict. We weren't on verdicts, but okay.
Well,
Yeah, I
that's
don't know
not-
what's going on there. I haven't said my verdict. I've just been going
Yeah,
down the
okay.
list.
So
Does it feel
no, I
cyberpunk?
don't feel it's cyberpunk.
Mm.
No, that's no. Okay, no.
Okay.
There.
So he says no, he does not feel it's cyberpunk. Sammy, does this feel cyberpunk?
No, it doesn't feel cyberpunk because, as it's already been pointed out, you can't have it punk and not cybery, or not cybery and not punk, because then it's not cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as I look over this checklist, I'm seeing a whole lot of no's.
Yep.
And
That's why I
as
was
I
really-
look at all these no's,
Mhm.
I have to answer, does it feel cyberpunk with a no?
No. But
Now, Mathadar, what's your verdict?
okay, my verdict was actually one. It's not cyberpunk, and I 100% agree. I was going to say cyberpunk adopted because this is definitely one that I see constantly referenced in cyberpunk in other films and in the video games and role-playing games. So it's not cyberpunk at all. It doesn't love cyber. It definitely isn't cyberpunk. But good God, do I see this referenced often anytime anyone's talking about going through and doing, like, if you talk about Shadowrun, BTL's Better Than Life,
Mm.
or you talk about Brain Dance, I can't see this film not mentioned every time.
All right.
And almost anything where you're trying to hack the human brain to get information out of it, because that's just dangerous.
So it sounds like while this source material is not directly cyberpunk, it did contribute towards other things that are more cyberpunk specifically.
Right.
Right.
Yep, that's why I suggested the film initially. Is I knew I was going to say no, but
But,
it
Yeah.
feels like it definitely was heavily adopted. I'm sure you'll see little elements in the film that were especially adopted.
okay. Barry,
Yes.
your verdict?
I mean, since I haven't seen this, I'm simply going to go with the general consensus. But that said, we have called other things not cyberpunk or proto-cyberpunk when they have contributed to the greater genre down the line.
Correct. Like, I guess proto-cyberpunk would also work, but I think since it came out in 83, it was mostly shot in 80. And it was finished in 81, except for the part where Natalie Wood passed away in 81. That's why it didn't come out till 83. So, unfortunately. But it was created before some of the other cyberpunk films we've seen, or cyberpunk adopted films like Brazil, that was 1985,
Yeah.
and a few others.
All right. Grim, I believe you're next. What's your verdict?
They both made some good points. Oh, that's tough now.
And the other reason I say it would be Proto is because it's before Neuromancer and a few of the others, which is 84. So
I'll go Cyberpunk Adopted or Proto Cyberpunk.
Pick one.
Eeny, meeny, miny, that one.
Proto.
Proto. Sammy.
Not Cyberpunk. I wouldn't say it's adjacent.
no, it doesn't have enough punk or other elements that are cyberpunk to be even adjacent.
Right.
I agree.
So, even though I don't agree, maybe Proto, just because that's been said.
Well, we can always figure
Well,
out.
both
Maybe
Proto and Adopted have been said.
And we can revisit our verdict in January when we go over everything all over again.
Yep, we might even come back and say no. Well, who knows?
It just, no offense to the movie, but it just kind of sucks.
And if you're watching this on YouTube and you know better and we forgot something, tell us! There's comments!
Oh, please do. We can only go off of our own research. If you know more, tell us.
Maybe we'll find a better one that'll be a source of the brain stuff. Unfortunately, that was the one I came with. That's the one I grew up with knowing, and reference. But if you can find a better one, we'll say that one's the Proto. We'll come back at this one and say, nope, it's just copying this other insert here.
Mm-hmm. And if you know better and you don't comment, that's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I will have to agree with Proto Cyberpunk. It's not Cyberpunk, but
Nope.
it did kind of introduce the whole idea of brain dances, at least as far as I can remember. So yeah, I'm locking it in for right now as Proto Cyberpunk.
Yay!
Before we get to the next week's topic, I do want to say, if you guys have seen this, if you've seen any of this stuff in the past, leave a comment below. Click that little like button. Last time I did it, it turned black. It might turn a different color for you guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that little subscribe button there and ring that bell so, of course, you don't miss out when we release a podcast. Although we release them every Saturday at noon. Except for a couple Saturdays. Let me go ahead and lock in this verdict for now.
Alright.
And I will get to our outro. So, Barry, if you want to start us off, where can we find you?
Alright. If you want more of my idiocy, antics, getting lost in video games, what have you, you can look me up at KHZHAK on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. My schedule is on my Twitch. And along with every weekday at 7 p.m. with WoW or Guild Wars or Conan, there's also Wednesday evening at 6 Central with like Phasmophobia or something if we're able to get together to do stuff. And there's also, we might do stuff Sunday also. And if you also look for other things like the other icons that popped up, if you recognize those, I'm on those websites too. And if you don't know those, never mind. And if you look up my username on Google and your safe search is turned off, that's your problem. Who's next?
Matt.
Hello. We have been taking a little bit of a break from doing some streaming. We were streaming quite often. I will be streaming again, however, fairly soon. We both my wife and I, Stefani and Matthew here, I have been very busy with schoolwork since I'm going to Colorado Technical University for a bachelor's in business management with a focus in digital marketing. As such, that's going to slow down our streaming, but we are still going to be on twitch.tv/SNMGD and also on YouTube at S&M Game Dungeon. That is Stefani and Matt Game Dungeon. It is not a sex-themed S&M show.
Yeah. So you can find this podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch by searching Gen Cyberpunk Pod. Our YouTube channel is Generation Cyberpunk. You can find that by searching Generation Cyberpunk Podcast. We do have a Redbubble if you want to go buy merch. That link is on the screen. If you want to hear more from our group, check out the Thanks for Nothing podcast on the FML Productions YouTube channel. We do various D&D campaigns on that channel and are in the process of making an anime. If you want to donate, we have a coffee link in the description of the Thanks for Nothing podcast or on the screen right there. Donations are welcome, but by no means necessary. Next week, to celebrate Keanu Reeves' birthday, on the day we record this, which is September 2nd, we are going to cover 2021's The Matrix Resurrections.
I can't believe it's already been that long.
Until then, we will see you later, Cyberpunks.